What if I told you that a single block in the final seconds of a game could change the trajectory of an entire season? Let me tell you about the wild finish to this Sun-Mercury clash, where Brittney Griner's last-second block wasn't just a play, it was a statement. Think about this: Griner, who spent years dominating the WNBA, was facing her old team, the Mercury, in a game that felt like a personal reckoning. And here's the kicker: she didn't even score in double digits. But that block? That was her legacy speaking louder than any stat sheet. Personally, I think that moment transcended basketball. It was about redemption, about proving that even when you're not the star anymore, your presence can still shift the momentum of a game. What makes this really interesting is how the narrative around Griner has evolved. She's no longer just a towering force everyone feared. She's become a symbol of resilience, of coming back stronger after personal and professional challenges. And yet, here she was, playing defense like it was 2016 again, shutting down Kelsey Plum's three-point attempt at the buzzer. That's not just skill, it's mindset. It's the kind of moment that makes you wonder, how many times have we underestimated players who've been through hell and come out the other side? Now, let's talk about the comeback itself. Connecticut was down 16 in the first half. That's a chasm. But they didn't just rally, they dominated the third quarter. Imagine being down that much and then outscoring your opponent 11-4 in a single period. That's not luck. That's a team finding its identity. And here's what I find fascinating: the Suns bench, led by Aaliyah Edwards, stepped up when the starters were struggling. It's a reminder that depth matters, but more than that, it shows how coaching adjustments can turn a game around. You ever notice how teams that make big comebacks often have a moment where everything clicks? For Connecticut, that was the third quarter. But let's not forget the bigger picture. This game happened against the backdrop of the Sun honoring Alyssa Thomas, whose jersey was retired before the game. It's a bittersweet moment because the team is moving to Houston next year. That adds another layer to the story. This wasn't just a win, it was a farewell to an era. And yet, the Sun are still fighting. They're not just rebuilding, they're proving they can compete. What does this say about the WNBA? That is evolving, that teams are no longer defined by their stars but by their collective will. And Griner. She's a perfect example of that. She's not the same player she was in her prime, but she's still capable of moments that define games. If you take a step back and think about it, this game was about more than points on a scoreboard. It was about legacy, about transition, about the unspoken rules of sports that say you never truly leave the game. And as for the Mercury, they'll be licking their wounds, but this loss might just be a wake-up call. Because when you're down 16 and can't stop bleeding in the third quarter, it's not just a bad game, it's a sign that something needs to change. So here's the deeper question: how long can a team keep winning with a shaky free throw line? Phoenix went 13 of 23 from the stripe. That's not just a stat, it's a vulnerability. And yet, they still had Kelsey Plum dropping 25. That's the thing about sports, sometimes, you can be flawed, but still be dangerous. But Connecticut's win? That was a masterclass in grit. And as for Griner's block, it's going to be replayed for years. Because in the end, that's what sports are about, moments that stick with you, that make you feel something beyond the game itself.